Okay, looks like we're just gonna go. So let's start this baby off right with a really sick map intro. I'll see you guys in a sec. You know, last time I did this, it took way too long for the intros to play. This time the intros are way too fast, the players are taking too long. A bit of a reverse scenario here. Let's swap those names around. There we go. Alright, welcome to Copa America. First game of the day, first best of 3, ready to rock and roll. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map from Crossfire Gaming. It's going to be the Blue Zerg player, Silhouette. And his opponent in the lower right. He's red, he's Protoss. I looked at the clan tag. It was something like the last of the Mohicans or something like that. I have to double check that between games, but it is the red Protoss player Frozt. Now I am going to do something incredibly unprofessional. I'll be right back for just 1 second because I've got to shut my door before casting. So 1 moment, guys. All right, perfect. That timed it well, I think. Of course, one of the biggest problems with living with anyone else is you don't want to bother them while you're being loud and yelling about StarCraft2. Not everyone appreciates the game the same way I do. Good luck, have fun comes from the admin here, and looks like they're going to take it off. So, it's all us now, boys and girls. Oh, God. Now, I don't know anything, I don't know a lick about these players. But the thing I do enjoy about this is the fact that it's the opportunity to learn. Again, there's some players out there you may have never heard of before taking part in Copa America, and that's perfectly fine. The idea behind a lot of this... the idea behind Copa America, guys, is it's not some big established tournament like WCS. I mean, I think they're going to try to be eventually, but the goal of it is, like, you know, they built up the community from nothing. The Latin community was kind of scattered. There wasn't a lot of organization for it. There were no real reliable or consistent tournaments. So Season 1... brought everybody together. Season 2, now that it's been established, they're working to make it bigger. They brought in the rest of North America. It's pretty awesome. So again, you're probably not going to recognize a lot of the names here tonight, and that is perfectly fine, because you're going to get to meet them and learn about them as we go through. Now this probe is looking to go for a block here, a bit of a nuisance here on the third base. Just going to make sure this doesn't get taken quickly. It is worth noting that the top left, bottom right spawns are possibly the longest spawn locations in any map of anything currently in the map pool. And hello, what's this guy's... What is this decal? Like a star or why am I having South Park? There you go. Viva la Mexico, I think. Mexico. Okay, okay. This guy. Cybercore and Gateway on the way. He's actually going to be chroning out as well. I do find this a bit curious. We saw a player named Siphon do something similar to this in Fear Dragons Breaking Out North America. And this is something you see more typically against Terrans, where you just chrono out 3 or 4 Zealots really quickly, and it can really punish somebody who's gone for a greedy type build like this. Now, there's not going to be Lings out in time to deal with this. That's what's going to be really, really hard for Frost. Or, sorry, for Silhouette to deal with here. Because Frost, on one hand, might be able to chip away this hatchery all day, but he's never really going to kill it. The other option, too, is just go to the drone line and go for drones, but he doesn't know the pool timing. Like, he saw the third hatchery early on, great, fantastic, but it didn't mean he necessarily went gas first, which he did, granted. But, yeah, a couple of Zealots just walking across the map, your third one on the way, and now the Mothership Core coming, too. So even if this hatchery completes, it's not going to build a Queen. It's not going to have any Lings out here in time. Quite frankly, even these 8 Lings coming out right now are going to have trouble dealing with 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core. Well, the first hatchery is just kind of getting chewed away at right now. And where are those lings? Sadly, they don't have speed is the problem. Granted, he did take a lot of gas early on, but he used it to go for the Roach Warren sooner than later, so not getting metabolic boost up quickly. These Zealots are going to take a bit of an unfortunate start to this fight. Mothership Core a little bit late to the party. I'm not sure why he stuttered away with that. That should have been just kind of beelining it right there to be the first one on site, but looks like they do clean up the Zealots pretty easily. Mothership Core, though, has nothing to oppose it. Another Zealot comes in, and we didn't have any continued units behind this, just the Queen walking down from the natural. Pardon me while I sneeze. Alright, well, that's allergy season for you. Drone kill goes down as well. We got a pylon on the way, and this Stalker's going to clean up these lings. Quite frankly, Silhouette playing very greedy. This is why you don't play greedy without proper scouting, as it's really hurting him here. This is not exactly something all in out of Frost, but he is dedicating a lot to this. You'll notice he's not exactly pumping out workers like crazy behind it. He doesn't have a natural base down either. These Queens are going to be a bit of a problem, as they can kill the Mothership Core. So forced to back away a little bit here. Zealot's doing a bit more damage to these lings, though. As far as resources lost right now, though, it's actually not too bad for Silhouette, but again, this is the third base that was meant to get him a lot of drones. He didn't want to have to spend any amount of this on larvae on roaches, much less zerglings, much less the minerals on queens, and he's still being attacked by more Zealots. Frost just warped in 4 new ones, and quite frankly, the queens can try and kite all day, and if they do, he might just focus the hatchery. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Really nice transfuse, though. Just side note, kiting around here from nothing at all. One more swing. There we go. The hatchery does fall. Now we look at the resources lost in the end here, and it's definitely a little bit worse for our Protoss player. Kind of as expected, though. He dedicated a lot to that attack. If he had built his own Nexus behind this, I think that would have been so worthwhile. That would have been worth any amount of resources lost. The problem was, though, he didn't. He's actually going to snipe off 2 Overlords. Got one earlier, just second one now. Not too bad. But yeah, the Nexus is going to be hard to defend. There's a couple of slow roaches coming across the map. I don't know why he's sending his queens. Silhouette, man. I don't know if anyone told you. You can't really go off creep with queens on Way Station because it's like 3 maps long. But we'll just assume he knows what he's doing. Now the roaches, they don't have a lot to stop them. There's not like infinite force fields here. There's not a whole lot of damage that's going to come down. But the Mothership Core has nothing to oppose it. And quite frankly, roaches without speed can't exactly walk past the Zealots and the Sentries and the Stalkers. So a bit of an awkward spot right now. Is again, he'd love to get in here, snipe off a couple of these Sentries, do a bit of damage. But incidentally, again, I remind you all, Frost did not really macro a whole lot behind this. So his probe's only just now underway. He's got even worker count to his opponent, and a third base has already been replaced down here. But yeah, there's that Galil reconstitution kicking into full effect. You know, I'm a little sad, by the way, guys. Just side note to everything here. I was really hoping I'd get to see a Terran player early on. I say this strictly because it was the patch is live today. For those who don't know, it's live. I tested it myself before we started casting. Hellions can become Hellbats with the armory, no research required. Broodlords have the Frenzied effect, and those are the only real changes. So, kind of interesting to note that. There's quite a few Terrans in the brackets tonight. We may get to see some of that. I'm really excited. Like, for me, what I'm excited about is, like, man, there's the possibility of, like, these Hellion pushes that fail early on with the Reapers that eventually turn into the Hellbats. Suddenly that bio push, the follow-up, so much stronger. But there's no Terrans here, and I can't get too whimsical about it just yet. I'll have to hold my excitement for later. Meanwhile, for Mr. Frost, he's got some production up finally. He's got his probe spray boat warrior. They should be by now. Downside is still not a lot of army units. He's getting out that first immortal. That's gonna be out in time to do a bit of damage to these roaches. But quite frankly, it's not like either player really needs to fight right now. Is the problem? Like Silhouette, he's getting here really aggressive in a situation where he really doesn't need to. And I find this is a big problem with a lot of Zerg players, kind of on the I don't know, on these panic situations. You've had your hatchery knocked down once early, so you feel like you gotta do a ton of damage or you're out of the game. And in some instances, that's the right choice. If you had done this earlier, before there was a Sim City, when it was the Nexus still under construction, I mean, you saw all of that with his Overlord early on. But yeah, these roaches don't need to fight is the thing. Now, I do like his choice to go for Burrow. I didn't even catch my issue researching Burrow. Burrow's a nice little healing mechanic, because roaches heal pretty darn quick. But I see its infestation pit, and I really want to say Hive, but there's no Hydralisks, there's no evolution chambers. chances are, guys, it's going to be Swarm Hosts. And for Frozt, this is going to suck a little bit, because it's not going to be easy or really, I don't know, probable that he even takes a third base at any point. Yeah, there we go, the first Swarm Hosts are coming out. And for Silhouette, if he just contains Frozt for the rest of the game, he's good to go. I mean, there's not going to be Colossus out for quite some time. Neither player really has upgrades going for them as far as weapons or armor is concerned, so it's kind of a naked battle, and Swarm Hosts are free, infinite units. They'll win that naked battle every single time. If there was Blink Stalkers in this, maybe it looks a little bit different. I realize that there's an observer there. A little unfortunate. Sorry, one sec, guys. Okay, I was just requesting to see if I could get the English information, or the English streaming focus. I guess none of the streams are listed on Team Liquid right now. The only stream under Copa America at the moment is Huck. So good guy Huck, keeping things alive. Huck is, of course, competing tonight, guys, and I've put my requests in for him. Hopefully we can catch a couple of his games a little bit down the line. The Locusts are out, or oot, I guess, because I'm Canadian, but there's no Enduring Locust upgrade, and quite frankly, unless you've actually experienced the pain of using non-Enduring Locusts, I mean, like, they don't last that very long. You gotta consider, the longer they're alive, the more potential damage they do, or the further they actually physically walk on the map. So, kind of limited to the border of his creep at the moment is poor Silhouette, but I don't know that Frost can really push into this. Force Fields will get him a little bit of the way. They get, the downside to Locust is they only have like 2 range. I can't show you because this UI doesn't allow me, but they have really, really short range, so you can Force Field them back, make damage minimal, use the Stalkers to fire from afar. But there's Spine Crawlers here. There's Roaches ready to flank from the side. There's a lot of creep and a lot of Speedlings as well, so he might just get pincered in by combination Locusts and combination Roaches and Lings. In fact, he should wait for his next Locust wave. If he waits for the next Locust wave to go in, that would probably be his best bet to break this Protoss Armada at his front door. He's got to be careful, though. There we go. Second wave of Locusts coming in a moment's time. He's already got Force Fields going down behind him, though. Frost with really great Force Fields, but those aren't going to hold up for so long. Locusts are taking care of the Zealots, no problemo, and quite frankly, the Mothership Core is even going to go down here to the Spore Crawler. Now there's no chance of a retreat, no chance of Time Warps, completely boxed in here. The Locust Wave despawns again. The power, not having Enduring Locust really hurts in that regard, but that's going to send Frost back home. So for Silhouette, he holds. He backs up the Swarm Host, but he really needs to get that Enduring Locust upgrade ASAP. Because quite frankly, having 14 Swarm Hosts does you no good if those Locusts can't go anywhere. But back at home for Frost, you know, we're focusing a lot on Silhouette at the moment. We do have a Robo Bay on the way, so eventually we're going to see the Colossus come out, some extended Thermal Lance additions. But it's, again, both players playing pretty upgrade-less. There's +1 weapons on our Protoss player, which is okay for the time being, but, I mean, the difference of 5 versus 6 Colossus, the differences of 4 versus 7 Colossus, it all comes heavily down to those upgrades. And we have a really cool move coming out of Silhouette right now. There's no dead space in the main for him to abuse this with. The Night Swarm, sorry, if that's not obvious what I'm talking about here. But what this will do is allow him to kind of shuttle his Swarmers across the field. He sees there's nothing around the Watchtower whatsoever. There's so many pylons down here ready to go for an attack, but he could just Night Swarm over here. And all of a sudden he's in range of the 3rd and the natural base, both at the same time. Now, sadly, Zealot's going to come up here, so this option is actually kind of dissipating as we speak, but still, nice to know that he could do it down here to the bottom as well. You could also just use it to reinforce his 4th, which is now coming underway. Okay, he's just going to do it in clear sight. Frost does see this thanks to the Observer. He wouldn't if there was no Observer. The Zealot did not have vision of that, but this is actually going to be something he's going to have to deal with first. Back at home, his 3rd base under attack. Massive Zealot Warp, and there's absolutely no way he saves this hatchery. Even if these Locusts come in, and they are going to come in here, they're not going to have the DPS to stop these Zealots. So the 3rd base, going to go down. But you know what? That's okay, because look what's up here in the north. That's right, the 4th he just slapped down. So it's just a simple matter of transferring his drones and remaking a hatchery. But the threat of this Warp Prism isn't gone yet. There's no Spore Crawlers at home. There's no Spine Crawlers at home. He's got to start getting aggressive with his Swarm Host as well. So he can't focus too heavily on the Warp Prism, but he also can't ignore it. It's a really frustrating situation to be in. But with double Colossus coming out in time, these Locusts, oh god, they burrow way too late. The Swarm Host, rather, burrow way too late. One of the Colossus gets focused down immediately, and these sentries actually don't stand a chance. He's going to lose a good chunk of the Swarm Host, though. I don't know if it would have been better off just to have left them burrowed, because they got awkward. They got kind of shuttled to the front lines, and that really didn't end up working out for him. Lost quite a few of them there. Well, up here in the north, we got that Warp Prism. Still going to be a nuisance here for poor Silhouette. He does have some Spore Crawlers in the main. This might kill it. Still, the Zealots will be a bit of a problem. Zealots are incredibly strong units, even without upgrades. Not like, oh my god, Zealots are OP, but I mean, they are just innately strong units for 100 minerals at a time. One thing we can't overlook, though, no matter how you look at this game, guys, the supply difference right now, 189 to 120. I mean, Protoss units, granted, are strong, not that strong. The Colossus were coming out 2 at a time earlier. He's trying to get that production back up, but a lot of this hinges on him now having this third base economy. This is not something that Frost can freely afford, quite frankly. We have another Nidus Swarm coming down, but the whole thing about the Nidus Network, guys, it's not about cheese. You know, a lot of people see the Nidus Network and they're like, oh my god, this is going to cheese the game to victory. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Rifkin's Nidus impression coming up. Alright. What's that? Probably like a 5 out of 10? Either way, this will give him multiple paths in which he can retreat, reinforce from, get back into, jump out of. So, you know, this one Nidus Swarm, it looks a little bit awkward, and quite frankly it is, but on a big map like this is something he's going to use to leapfrog forward, I imagine. And as we see, everything's coming out of this, not just the Swarm hosts. 3 Vipers are on the way as well. That's why we see the Evolution Chambers coming down. But, yeah, he's gonna have to use some consumes. This base, once again, same tricks. Silhouette, do you not learn, my friend? Move that Spore Crawler from the mineral line over to the edge of the base, or build a second one. He should actually clean this up this time. I think he's got the DPS for it, and these Zealots won't be as successful as last time, but still, a bit of a nuisance nonetheless, because he doesn't have any anti-air to chase this down. So the Warp Prism will escape once more. Back at home, though, 4 Colossus. If they had level 3 upgrades, I'd say if it's enough. But with a 5th Colossus and only level 1 upgrades, level 2 on the way, he's certainly got enough to beat back Locust Waves, especially if he uses Force Fields. But let's be honest, he shouldn't be needing to use Force Fields. Again, both players' upgrades incredibly lacking this game. +1 finish up here for Silhouette in a moment's time. But, you know, the reason for this isn't because, like, oh my god, these guys are noobs, they forgot, they don't know how to do upgrades, WTF. It's because they've been so focused on units and aggression, back and forth. Even though it hasn't really been a tug-of-war game, it has certainly been very back and forth. We got the Warp Prism on the left side, we got the Swarm Host on the right.